My name is April Curran. I'm the academic program manager in the College of Engineering. I serve on one of our scholarship committees that we have, and I'll be doing the presentation today. I'm also joined by Emily Housley, who's also in the Dean's office. Emily, if you want to introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us to discuss the very important topic of scholarships. So welcome, and we're glad you're here.
So our objectives today, we're going to talk to you about how to apply for College of Engineering scholarships, what is needed for these application processes or for this application, and how to make your scholarship application really stand out. Our goal is to make sure that you're well prepared, and then also maybe get some tips and tricks on really not just submitting a scholarship essay, but also making sure that you're putting one in that's really what the committees are looking for, that's complete, so on and so forth. The College of Engineering grant last year awarded about 510 scholarships, totaling more than $1.6 million. So that's a good chunk of change right there. They're awarded not only by the College of Engineering Dean's Office scholarship committees, but also your departments as well. So there are several different areas that do award scholarships. It's not just your department, it's not just the dean's office, they come from multiple areas. Sometimes, a lot of times, donors, so previous College of Engineering graduates or different companies will donate to these funds. And then they're available for anybody from that first year level all the way through the seniors. They're available for first year students, transfer students, and then we'll talk a little bit about the BS and if you are looking to pursue a BS-MS degree later on. There's a bullet point on a slide about that if that's something you're looking to do starting next year. And then we have merit-based scholarships, which are going to look solely at, what makes you stand out as a student? How are your academics? What's your involvement look like? What achievements have you achieved? And then also we have scholarships that will look at that information, but also consider need. So, we hear students who say, well, my parents aren't really, funding my education, but sometimes need goes a lot deeper than that, where, maybe students have families, maybe there are extenuating circumstances. So we have a wide variety of scholarship opportunities. There's likely a scholarship out there for you. And then these really vary. We have scholarships that are $500 for a semester, and we have scholarships that will cover the cost of tuition and be renewable for multiple years. So there's really that wide factor. So it's difficult to say what exactly students get from these scholarships. I would say most scholarships are probably a couple, $2,000 to $3,000. But again, could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. So where to apply? There's a couple ways that students find it. If you visit our COE website, you can go to the Students tab at the top and then go down and click on Scholarships. It also is really easy to Google. The system the university uses is Academic Works. So if you Google Academic Works at the University of Utah, you can do that. Emily's also put the direct link for our COE website in the chat. And then, or you can visit the Office of Scholarships and Financial Aid website. Again, we use the system that the university uses. So not only are College of Engineering scholarships posted there, but other scholarships from across the university as well. And then Emily has put this link into chat, but we're going to go ahead and visit this link. So what you're going to do is you are going to log in with your University of Utah credentials. This would be if you were like an employee of the university, you'd have this two-factor authentication. So just give me a minute. But your view is going to look a lot like this. So the first thing that's going to populate is actually going to be this general application. This general application is something that everybody in the University of Utah who uses the system fills out. It's going to ask you your name, your preferred name. Are you a new transfer student? It clarifies what they mean by that. down here below, it asks whether or not you're pursuing full-time or part-time scholarships, if you already have a bachelor's degree, if you are a veteran, active service member, if you have parents or a spouse who are military and veterans, or are you a first-generation student? There's also this box here that students are asked whether or not they have endured any basically hardships in their lives or any sort of financial obstacles. I highly recommend that if you have anything that you think may apply here, even if it is, hey, my parents aren't funding my education and I'm supporting myself, write it down here. This is something that College of Engineering Scholarship Committee members also look at as well. So if you have those extenuating circumstances, it could be the thing that kind of gives you a little bit more of an edge. So I encourage you to fill this out. Really important that you mark that you are a part of the College of Engineering. Otherwise, if you don't click this, it's not going to give you the College of Engineering scholarship application at the next step. So make sure you mark that you are a member of the College of Engineering. Again, we have some additional questions that, based off of whether or not they apply to you, you would have to go in and let us know, and then you sign it at the bottom. And then this is just me updating my application. But if you have it, if this is your first time filling it out, what it's going to do is it's then going to lead you to the College of Engineering application. So again, you're going to be asked some more questions to kind of determine, what scholarships could you potentially be eligible for. The way the system's built, there are some key questions that perhaps we have scholarships that are dedicated for certain individuals. So we might have a scholarship that is dedicated for first-year students in their major, for an example. So this question right here is very important. If you are a continuing or transfer student, which year are you currently in relative to your department's requirements? So usually if you're following like your department flow chart, we have a lot of maybe first year students who say, well, I'm actually a senior. If you look at my credit hours, we're definitely more interested in where you are at in your program. So again, if you're looking at your department's flow chart and you say, well, the majority of my classes are falling in this first year, then you're going to want to click this first year box. If it's something where you're like, man, I really feel like I'm kind of in that second year, third year, kind of I'm taking this jumble of classes according to the flow chart, ask your academic advisor what they would classify you as. They also go in and just double check this information, but it never hurts to contact your academic advisor to ask for this clarification. And then here is a reference section. We're going to talk about references later on. Let's see, is that for transfer students? This section right here, if you're continuing or transfer student, is that what you're asking about, Spencer? Okay, so this is if you are a continuing or transfer student. So basically, this wouldn't apply for maybe incoming first year students, so high school students who are coming to the U. This would apply to you if you're continuing with your U of U degree, or you are a current or you are a student transferring in. So it applies to both current and transfer student populations. And then here's a reference section, just so you know. Here, if it's something where, just so you know, when you hit save and keep editing, it's going to ask for your reference's name, your reference's email address. When you hit save and keep editing, it's going to send your reference a form to fill out. So you don't necessarily have to have this completed entirely, but it will ping to your reference. So if that's something where you're wanting to kind of send them that information early on, know that that's all you have to enter in order to keep doing that. And then you're going to hit save and keep editing, or save and submit. And then over here, we have what it will do basically is it's going to look at your general application. It's going to look at your College of Engineering application. And then it's going to make recommendations on other scholarships you may be available, or that may be available to you based on how you answered some questions, some of those questions. Some things I want to point out is that this is, like I said, people across the university utilize it. And I know in the College of Engineering, we try to tailor it so that you are only getting scholarship applications that are relevant to you. But you may see scholarships that you're not eligible for as well. So some might not be as tailored down. Some every single student will see. But these additional scholarship recommendation or scholarship applications are for students who have filled out the general app, have filled out the College of Engineering application, but they want something like an additional essay. So this is where, and again, we're going to talk about it later, but sometimes they have different deadlines than we're going to talk about. Again, the award amounts can vary, and then these will be your supplemental questions that are just a little bit more specific to the scholarship itself and the scholarship opportunity. They just want something a little bit more than like your personal statement. Any questions with this? Okay. One popular question I do get is, oh, my reference didn't get my email.
I have a question.
Oh,
Hello?
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry. On the reference section,
Mhm.
when you fill in the College of Engineering scholarship, does it like, I know it's like something to do with like letter of recommendation, but do I just reference the professor that you want and then they'll send an email to them to fill out, or?
Correct. And actually, so if we go under here for references active, oh no, that's weird. It was working just yesterday. Sorry, give me 1 minute.
So Nathan, April used me as a test reference. And so I got an email that said, hey, April has asked you to be a reference. And I clicked on a link and I filled out a form, online form, and submitted it. So that's what your reference would see. They would just get an email to invite them to go online and fill out the form. I had some things to rate, and then that was it, and submit. And then it shows up now in April's active references.
Yes. You won't be able to see it. It is one of the questions where if you waive the right to see it, so I wouldn't be able to see what Emily submits. Hopefully, if it's your reference though, we're going to upload it to our YouTube website. Sorry, somebody asked about this. Okay, so this is where, just so you know, you can see, all right, here's the email address I sent it to, because sometimes we have it. Sometimes we have it where students make a typo. Just go in and update your reference's email address. It has the date that you requested it, and then it has the date that it's going to let you know whether or not it's been sent to us or sent to your reference. It's going to let you know if your reference has submitted anything as well. If Emily had not submitted something for me, over here under this action item would be a button where basically if your reference says, hey, I can't find it kind of thing, can you resend it? You'd be able to hit the button and it would resend your reference that reference form. So this is helpful again if you're just like, hey, did my reference actually send that in? I just want to make sure it's attached to my file. And yes, as Emily has put in chat, we'll have this uploaded on the YouTube channel as well. All right, so that's the application itself. So Carl, I'm going to get to, Carl and Amy, I'm going to get to that question later on when we're in our reference section. So your application materials, here's kind of the gist. We went over the application itself, but it's going to ask for some personal information like your name, your academic profile, what major are you pursuing. It's going to ask for a personal statement, a resume, and then you'll need 2 references essentially. We're going to break all of these down one by one. So, and then again, additional essays as well, potentially, if you're interested in pursuing those. So personal statement. So the statement, I have always loved math and science, and I like taking things apart and playing with Legos. It's being a little dramatic to say that's every engineering student ever. But I will say it was something within one of my first days of work. I actually wasn't working on reading reference letters. And I said something like, man, everybody's writing about their love of math, science, and Legos. And when I put out a request from the departments basically saying like, hey, what are some recommendations that you have for folks? This is the exact sentence that somebody sent me back, and they said, please don't have students write about their love of math, science, and Legos. It's just a very, very common thing. So try and think about things that make you very unique. Your goal is to have the reviewer know about you and what makes you different. So do talk about why you want to be an engineer. What are some of your goals post-graduation? Any outside involvement you might have? Service experiences, research performed outside of class, any outreach performed, community involvement, anything else that you've done to support your learning experience. So it doesn't have to be all this, but these are just to give you some ideas of things that you can write about in your personal statement. If you don't have a lot of involvement, address why and how the scholarship money will assist you in becoming more involved. So we've had students who say like, I support myself. I have to work X number of hours a week. If I had this scholarship money, I would be able to participate in research. I would be able to join student clubs. Those are dreams of mine. So definitely don't let your lack of involvement be a hurdle or an obstacle, but do explain how the money could assist you in making this happen. It should be about a page long or 500 words. You are limited in academic works. So it is a 500-word essay, and you won't be able to do any more than that. So again, usually it's about a page. Let's see. So if you remember at the very end, I said you're going to fill out the general app. You're going to fill out your College of Engineering application. And then it's going to generate this big list of scholarships that you may be eligible to apply to. About 90% of our COE scholarships, all you have to do is fill out that COE application, and then it's just going to put you into whatever pool it says you're eligible for based off of your responses. So about 90% of them, you're going to be evaluated based off of the information and the data you've given us. But about 10% of them require an additional essay beyond that. Hint, these are the scholarships that students apply for less often. They're like, oh, I've already put in the work for the references, the personal statement, my resume, my cover letter. I'm done kind of thing. I will say these scholarships that require additional essays are really the ones to look out for. To view, you can visit the COE scholarship page. I know Emily had put that in chat earlier. It does differ from the personal statement. There's a more specific writing prompt. So for example, I used to oversee the Engineering Scholars Program. And your personal statement, for that, we ask you to tell us a lot about you and your interest in engineering and kind of your level of involvement. With that specific application, when I was asking students to apply for the Engineering Scholars Program, I was asking them, why do you want to be involved in research specifically? What research are you looking to do? Are you already involved in a lab? Do you have any ideas of which labs you want to go into? So this would be an example of a different writing prompt. Don't use your personal statement for these essays though. So I've had students, it's actually pretty common, so don't do it. For a student to copy and paste the personal statement that they've submitted in that College of Engineering portion of their application. It's common for them to copy and paste that and put that into that essay prompt. So they don't change anything, they don't tweak anything. Usually they're very different. We don't like making you do the extra work if it's not necessary. So if you want to be seriously considered for that scholarship that requires the additional essay, do yourself a favor, write the new writing or address the new writing prompt. If you feel like your personal statement still applies to the writing prompt, definitely make sure you make an effort to make it look and sound different, that you put some effort into it. And again, you didn't just copy and paste. Okay, resume. So you're gonna have to update a resume. update it and make it relevant. It shouldn't be your high school resume. Some things to include on it: professional work experience, extracurricular activities, academic projects, any awards you've received, list any research that you've been a part of. Career Services does have drop-in hours. They are all virtual, but if you want to get some help on your resume, you don't have to do it alone. So definitely utilize them. But these are some things that you would want to address for sure if it's a part of your experience here. Let's see, not sure. Okay, references. You should have 2 academic references from either STEM or game-related backgrounds. So, well, I guess I'll keep going on with the next point. Don't use high school teachers or family members. You know, mom and dad are a little biased, we hope, towards you. And then, you know, your high school teacher, hopefully you've formed some relationships with faculty here so that you don't have to utilize your high school teachers. So we've had students in the past who they've started going in and developing those relationships with professors, just attending their office hours. I think some students think, well, I have to come in with a specific question, but go and get to know your faculty. It's something that we've encouraged students to do since orientation. And you really want them to get to know you so that they can write you a better reference than, hey, the student got an A in my class, they should do fine. Usually U of U references are preferred, but if it's something where you've recently transferred over, we understand that maybe you haven't had that opportunity. The other thing too is we've had students submit maybe like internship supervisors. Again, I would really make sure that they have seen you kind of in an engineering or gaming or computing element and are really going to be able to attest to that. But, they're going to be able to attest to that. But just so you know, the application or the reference form they get is very much more geared towards academic references. So you might want to give them a heads up about that. If I was previously a humanities major, what is the best thing to do? I'm a transfer student. I would say see if you can form some relationships with your STEM faculty, or try and pick some majors that are, or try to pick classes that are most closely related to your major. But it's not too late to start getting to know your faculty.
Well, sorry, can I follow up with that question?
Yeah.
So since I'm not taking classes now, since I am a transfer student starting in winter,
Mhm.
would it be more logical to wait until, you know, fall semester to apply for scholarships? Or what? Because I really don't have like a single STEM reference.
So I would say, being completely honest, if it's, I guess, what's your major too? I think game students are a little bit of a different boat.
I am pre-biomedical engineering.
Okay. I would say still, it doesn't hurt to fill out the application because, but I would say it may be more, it's going to be more difficult to obtain a College of Engineering specific scholarship.
Gotcha. Nope, that's good to know. So yeah, I think that answers it.
Still, I would say still fill out the application. It's worth it. And again, more than just COE scholarships are on there, are listed on there. Ryan, do you have you taken any games classes? You can still apply if you're doing a pre-major. Yes, you can.
Yes, I did do a couple game classes, but it was just this semester, and
Alright.
they were over like Twitch, so we didn't really have any interaction with the professor.
Gotcha. Have you gone to most professors are still, professors are required to host office hours, even if they're virtual. So there's still that opportunity if you want to even just touch base with them afterwards. Being transparent with you all, it is hard if you haven't started to cultivate those relationships. And if you're really wanting them to be able to write more than, hey, the student got an A in my class, they should do fine, I would actually recommend, even, you know, it's not too late start getting to know your faculty, just to know you can give them, and I think I have this as the next point, you can provide them with a resume, but really just giving them an opportunity to know you. They don't have to know you super, super well, but go in and talk to them about the field, talk to them about the major, talk to them about how you can be successful in the future. Those are things that, even though the semester has ended, you have until February 1st to apply. So you still have time to reach out to them. Is this an application where you reapply for each year semester? I would say it doesn't hurt to keep checking in with Academic Works every single year. But usually, and we'll talk about the deadlines, usually students do it on a yearly basis. The College of Engineering specific scholarship opens up for one period of time each year, but sometimes there are additional, like we have an emergency fund called the Haglund Scholarship that students can apply for throughout the semester, and we opened it up each semester. So I would say it doesn't hurt to keep checking in with Academic Works, because there are other scholarship opportunities that are uploaded on a yearly basis. TAs usually don't, a lot is dependent on their level of involvement, but usually they're not great references. Professors hold the most weight. Okay, all right. So another good question, or another question I get, is to find out which email address is best for your reference. Some students will send it to their professor's U of U email, but they actually prefer if you send it to their personal email. Or you might have your professor's personal email, but they want you to send it to their U of U email because it's going to be formal. So find out which email is best for you to use for your reference. Also, let them know you're planning to use them as the reference. I have gotten a few emails from professors who say, I don't know the student at all. Is it okay if I decline? So you don't want to make it awkward for yourself and the professor. Give them a heads up. We do have professors who they're happy to write, hey, the student did well in my class. They did well in teamwork. That's one of the questions that are asked. So you will have professors who'll say like, yeah, I can attest that you did well in the class, kind of thing. But make sure you're reaching out to that faculty member. Let's see. Yes, calculus professor would be a good reference. Yeah, usually we go with STEM for sure, but unless you're a game student, that's a little bit different. Academic advisor, unless they are a faculty member, usually isn't a good reference. We do have a few faculty members who are also academic advisors. Let's see. So if we're pre-majors, I will say if you are a pre-major, more scholarships tend to open up as you get full major status, and as you hit that junior going into your senior level mark. But it's still great for pre-majors to apply. We actually have a few specific, like the Merrill Engineering Scholars Program is one specifically for students going into their sophomore year. Let's see, I'm trying to think. We also have the David Jorgensen Summa. That is particularly for students going into their sophomore year. I would say if you are a pre-major who is going into something, who hasn't taken anything related to their major, it will be hard for you to get a College of Engineering Scholarship essay or College of Engineering Scholarship. But yeah, I usually still encourage students to apply, because sometimes we might have a first year scholarship where students can open up. We do have an emergency fund scholarship called the Haglund Scholarship. I think that's a good one also for students to apply to, because we'll consider students who aren't necessarily in full major status.
And also the departments have scholarships too. And we were reached out to from one of the departments and asking if we had any people to recommend because they had extra funding to give out that. And so it's always worth your time and effort to apply because the opportunities may come up where a student doesn't accept a scholarship and we can re-award, and you're on, if you're on that list, you may just kind of be bumped up. And there are transfer specific scholarships. So if you're an incoming transfer student starting, there's scholarship funding specifically for you as a new start at the U. So, and you're also using this scholarship as application, as April mentioned, for the university scholarships. Many of the departments, like our Women's Center and Ethnic Affairs Office and different programs, have specific scholarships as well that you might qualify for. Particularly too, if you are a quote unquote adult coming back to school, there's 2 specific scholarships for you that you might qualify for through the that's posted on the Benyon Center, and I'll put the extra links for other resources as well. So definitely do your due diligence to do the research and homework of finding the scholarships, not only in the College of Engineering, but the whole university and all of the departments as well.
Yeah, because I think Emily does a great point at reminding you, like, this presentation is very much geared towards applying for College of Engineering scholarships. But there you are more than just your College of Engineering major or pre-major status. So really utilizing and doing that homework and looking beyond the College of Engineering is important. And like I said, a lot of students, if there's a scholarship that requires that additional essay, those are the ones that are less likely to be applied to. So those are great ones if you're like, hey, I really just want to put myself in as many pots as possible. Usually they're not too difficult. And those are where less students are applying to. Let's see. Follow up with the references to make sure they are turned in by the February 1st deadline as well. Technically, the system will still, if your reference submits it after February 1st, technically the system will still accept it, but there's no guarantee that your application hasn't already been reviewed at that point. So just make sure that you're following up with your references on a regular basis. Again, I showed you how you could double check whether or not your reference had submitted their application. So definitely follow up with them. Don't ask your reference, hey, when do you think you could have this in by? Don't check in with them continuously, but do check in with them. Because your references, they're important to get in. It is looked at as a big part of your application. Let's see. All right. So final notes, if you're uploading, make sure you're utilizing a PDF. BSMS students that will move into the MS portion of their degree next semester should contact their departments to see if they're eligible. Certain scholarships will only apply to the BS portion of your degree. Other scholarships could potentially cover some portions of your MS degree as well. So double check with your department. Departments tend to do the BSMS scholarships. College of Engineering tends to award scholarships that more so go towards incoming transfer students, incoming first-year students, some sophomore level awards, and then we have some higher up scholarships as well for juniors and seniors, but a lot of departments are going to be taking care of the scholarships that are specific for students who are more in that junior senior year of the program. That's really when departments start doing the bulk of the scholarship providing. Applications are open now. Make sure you apply for current student scholarships by February 1st. There are no exceptions to that deadline. Also, just so you're aware too, I wouldn't recommend you, even though we're saying like applications are open, start working on it, don't apply until after February or after grades post, because you are going to be required to upload a copy of your academic report, your DARS report, and we want to make sure that your letter grades for this semester are on there as well. So, all right, so this is me, so you're not going to see anything there, but if you were to generate your degree audit report, you're just going to go look for the degree audit button. You're going to hit run audit, or if you are in pre-major status, you would go here to not declared exploring and run a what if audit. You're going to go to engineering, pick your degree, bachelor's. Sorry. And then what you should do is hit print friendly. And then if you right click, hit save as, or you could do it that way, or you could do print and then print or save as PDF. And that's the way to save your audit report as a as something that can be uploaded as a PDF later. But that print friendly version is really helpful to know. If you are a student transferring in, if you search for College of Engineering Transfer Scholarship, you're going to see one. You can apply for current student scholarships if you're transferring in spring 2021. We also have a College of Engineering Transfer Scholarship that is closing. You'll see the close date for that is January 4th. So you can apply, if you search College of Engineering Transfer Scholarship, it'll show you one that closes on April 1st, and it will show you one that closes on January 4th. You can apply for both of those. The one that closes on April 1st will be for the fall 2021 academic year. The one that closes on January 4th will actually be for this upcoming spring semester.